that's cream cheese there, and some toast and blueberry pomegranate juice. I put Gigi and Nate on top because just to show where that Raptors really isn't a top of the stack. And then there's all of these, and I guess I'll go through because you can't see the titles of these ones because I guess they just wrote it out that way. Library or whatever. And
now you mentioned cream cheese. Are you going to mention this soup, what it is?
It's just the same sort of soup I've been making. Okay. So it's a lentil, I think it's lentil and oat.
Okay.
And yeah, I think that's what
potatoes
the package
on top.
And then I cook. So what I do is I put the lentil and oat soup mix in the bottom of the crock pot, and then I put I peel the potatoes and chop them up, and then I start seeding my tomatoes, and I put all of the tomato juice in the to cover up the potatoes, and then so that takes quite some time.
Well, yeah, the amazing amount of seeds that you laid out on cardboard today.
Yeah, so while I'm doing that, I have to make sure I put the juice all over the tops of all of the potatoes, or else they start to oxidize or whatever, change color. I don't know if it affects the taste, but anyway, as long as I keep them covered, well, it doesn't happen. So I'm going to, I think I'm gonna we're going to go over some lyrics from that Captain Tractor today, but I'm not sure. So we'll just get started on this, see how it goes, and that'll be that. So the reason James is having to chop up the cream cheese into the soup is hot, but the cream cheese came out of the freezer.
Yeah, I'm chopping up the potatoes. The soup is warm enough so that it's melting the cream cheese.
All right, so we ended off with Gigi and Nate last time, and then I didn't get through the stuff, and then I added a couple other things in the meantime. So with Gigi and Nate, it's funny because where this ended off, then this sort of picked up on the same sort of thing, which I wouldn't have expected that. But okay, so what happened in Gigi and Nate is the courts decided no capuchin monkeys, probably no primates, of other species, not human, permitted as service animals in the state that they were living in. So because they said that it was these capuchin monkeys were dangerous to the public, so they shouldn't be, they can't be permitted or whatever. Now, interesting, because James and I were talking about how, well, the most dangerous primates are humans, other humans. The most dangerous primates to humans are other humans, and really, it's people who are not aggressive shouldn't have to deal with people who are.
Otherwise, they're in prison. We're in prison increasingly here as the justice system gets crazier and as the immigration system gets looser and looser. I don't mind people coming in from elsewhere so long as they got some skills and don't believe in, the religion doesn't believe in slaughtering people who diss their religion or who leave their religion, or folks who think that that somehow or another white folks owe them something, and so they can go and rob and whatever.
All right, so and I've talked about this in the past: passive people versus aggressive people, and we've talked about immigration, we've talked about religion, we've talked about different cultures, whatever, in our show before. So this is really old news for you, our viewers. But so then I turned on Raptors. I'd already watched the first disc and almost there's 2 discs in the set, and I'd almost watch it to the end, and then we ended up doing something else yesterday, and then James wanted to watch mystery stuff instead, and then I was seeding tomatoes and I was watching some program that I'll review later, not very good, while I was doing that, because I didn't really care about what I was watching. When I'm seeding tomatoes, I'm seeding tomatoes, and TV's just company to basically keep me seeding tomatoes. So anyway, so I turned this on after I was finished seeding tomatoes this morning to watch the end of it, and all of a sudden they're talking about the bird that they really started out with, I think, but I mean some time passed in between. So, and but it was I think the African crowned eagle, maybe, living in some city in South Africa, I believe. I wrote down the information, which I forgot to bring out. And they're nesting on sewage drainage pipes. That's where they're nesting now. And they're like, oh, inspirational music. Oh, isn't this wonderful that there's more, they're nesting in a denser population, like there's fewer per, usually there's only 1 per 3 miles or something, like 1 pair per 3 miles nesting or whatever. But here they're nesting in closer together and stuff like that. No, isn't that wonderful? They're in this city. Well, if you remember, I've had eagles dive bomb me. Even I put on a video showing a pigeon who was the pigeon was chasing somebody into the library. Somebody went into the library to get away from this pigeon that had been dive bombing the guy for blocks. He'd been running. He was running with his hands over his head like this while, you know, I was following him to the library, and he said, that pigeon, he's been following me. And sure enough, the pigeon wanted to come in. He was waiting right by the doors. And as soon as the door opened, pigeon walks in, right? And I'm trying to shoo the pigeon out.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so funny. So, anyway, there's lots of pigeons around, and they're not native species. But that's another another issue I will talk about at a later date. But still, I like pigeons, and I'm not thrilled about cities doing things like poisoning them. Because they do it here, and
other animals feed on them.
Exactly. But Ellison's Flower is right near my house, and so there's lots of pigeons that are there, right? Tons. And that attracts the hawks and stuff. They just they have so much food just available there. So if you really like. If you want to do an environmentally friendly control of pigeons, let the hawks do their thing, right? That's food for hawks. And plus, they're talking in this about, well, what's the fate of the raptors? Well, they're going to die. That's the fate of them. As things stand now, there's populations are going crazy, out of control. Why are these raptors nesting in this city? Oh, wonderful that they're nesting in this city in such close on sewage drainage pipes. Why? It's not a big mystery to solve why they would be there doing that. And they say, well, it's their population of their prey is in the city, and they were showing the monkeys. Lots of monkeys in the city. Somehow people are living with monkeys there, but in this state, can't have the capuchins and service animals, it's too dangerous to the public. But anyway, why are the monkeys there? You know, James and I have noticed over the years, you know, more deer come into the city or more whatever, and then all of a sudden, like a couple years ago, cougar. What's a cougar doing in the city? Never heard of that before a couple years ago.
How about coyotes?
That's wild. Because they're I mean, that's pretty far from their range, but they're having to move. They follow their food. They have to. What are they going to eat, right? So they follow their food wherever their food may go, and their food is having to go. They're being displaced because of what? Humans. So they're coming to the cities because their native rangelands being developed into cities or being developed into farmland or whatever. And there's nowhere for them to go. They do the best they can with birds. At least they have wings, and they can pick up and go and whatever pretty easily. Like they were mentioning in this, there's one kind of eagle, great big thing, with I think it was an 8-foot wingspan or something like that. And there were 2 types. One was 20 pounds. Like, that's huge for a bird. So, but they're feeding off of, the snow is melting. They're feeding off of the...
I anticipated that.
That's why you have your hood up. The pollock fishing in northern Japan, and that's bringing tourists to see these big raptors. Anyway, they were saying in this that they're from, they spend most of their time up in Russia, but they come for the pollock fishing harvest because, I mean, that's food. lots of food available for them. So, but that's one thing people don't seem to want to recognize, is when human populations get out of control. Well, there's only so much resources on the planet for all of life. So if Canada decides, oh yay, let's just open immigration to everyone who wants to come. Okay, and then they just keep breeding, whatever, building houses, breeding, eating, and
drinking water.
Where's our wildlife then? And does anyone care? Oh, people have said to me, you care more about animals than you do about people. Well, humans are a species of animal, and there's a lot of great numbers of humans. If there were little numbers of humans and big species outbreak of porcupines all of a sudden, maybe I would feel differently or something like that. But still, I trust nature to control things. So when there's big disease outbreaks or something like that, well, that's nature trying to control things. And humans keep trying to outsmart nature, and but you know, eventually it's going to solve itself. How do you want to solve itself? Do you want it to be really painful later, or a little bit painful now? And just, you know, control the population now so that there isn't disease, famine, and war in the future to control it, or whatever. Anyway, and by that time, where are all the raptors? Well, they're gone. Because, so, I put this one at the top under that. So, out of the Midsomer Murders, Death Shadow. This was the one about there's no clue as to what it is on the back or anything, and these titles, James is trying to figure out which one this was. Well, this is a problem because the Midsomer Murders, they have really poor titles. You can't figure out what was what with the titles. What episode was what?
What was that one that you were having so much trouble with?
It doesn't matter. Yeah. So, Death's Shadow, there's, this is about a priest and some things that happened in the past and whatever. I thought this was really well written, and there was enough information that you should be able to solve it along the way. There were hints, and I was thinking, oh, this might be a red herring. Well, anyway, it was entertaining. I don't know what to say about that. But then I put Vixen's Run. I thought that was pretty good.
Is that the one with the fox in it? I don't recognize.
See, that's the thing. The titles are really bad. So I'm trying to look at the pictures of the people. Oh, that was the one with these women. So at least this one has some pictures of the people at the bottom that you can try to figure. Yeah.
I didn't recognize the guy in the back. Yeah.
No, me neither. So then I put Beyond the Grave. Then Midsummer Rhapsody, and this one's actually pretty memorable. You know which one that one was. Then I put Destroying Angel and Dead Man's 11, which what does that even mean? We couldn't figure it out while we were watching it.
No, I did. It's
you did?
Number of guys on the cricket team.
Oh, you had figured that out. You guessed that's what it was. Away. Yeah. Okay.
She was very tied up on what was happening. Yeah. I actually told her, but sometimes, like, it's hard to...
Well, he did, but I didn't know that's what it was. Even because nobody said anything about it later on, and so I just thought, oh, that was just James' guess. So, Faithful Unto Death. And then I put Blood Will Out. And this... Oh, yeah. I put it there, I was like, oh, I'm going to remember what this is about, because it's right over top of The House in the Woods, which this isn't that good. But The House in the Woods, I put this at the bottom of the Midsomer Murders stack that we watched, because frankly, the whole evil twin thing is stupid. So that's why that got there. But what was so stupid about this one? The Blood Will Out. I don't know, but I didn't rate it very highly. And I know. So I kind of wanted to talk about it. This was the one where the young, well, she's an adult. She's a young adult. I'm just going to tell you what happened because it's not worth watching. So she is the one who ended up killing her stepfather. And her stepfather's a really wealthy guy, and he married her mother. So he had disciplined her with his belt over the years, and so she ended up overhearing the stepfather talking to somebody else, and the stepfather was saying, she thinks I'm going to pay for her to go to America. Well, that's never going to happen, or something like that. So she's upset about the fact that he's not giving her the money to go to America, and that's why she killed him. Well, in this show, Barnaby is saying, I'll do everything I can for you, and he's feeling all bad that she had been disciplined with the belt and treating her like she's a victim. Well, she wasn't at that point. It's not like she was, she grabbed the gun because she was worried for her life or anything, and she needed to defend herself or protect her life. No, she was mad about not getting money from this guy. So she should go away for a long time. There's no, you can't be all, oh, well, I feel bad for this person because they got disciplined with the belt in the past. And oh, yeah, well, beating someone with a belt, and I don't know what British law is like, but in a lot of places, a parent disciplining a child that's they're responsible for, it's no big deal. It's just something that's expected. And I don't know what it's like in Britain. I don't know if spanking is allowed there or was at that point or whatever, and I don't know if belts were. But
well, people used to get the equivalent.
So
at school, it's called a strap.
Exactly. So, and that's even within my lifetime, people would get the strap. So,
not that I
and
recommend
there's
that.
no, but on the same note, well, somebody who disciplines somebody with a belt, even if it's illegal, I doubt that it's the same penalty for murdering somebody. So it's not comparable at all. So there's that. And plus, in this show, they were really wanting to talk about a certain ethnic group that travels around in Europe.
I was surprised. Yep.
But they felt uncomfortable about it. So they gave them all the last name Smith. And, but they had them traveling around and whatever, and stealing, and whatever.
Playing a lot of music.
Yeah, and Barnaby's not doing anything to, like, people are complaining, they stole my goose, and they stole my pig, or whatever, I don't know. And Barnaby's not doing anything about it. He's not going to go after this ethnic group. But theft is theft, no matter what ethnic group you're from. So, fight or flight. This is from the producers of John Wick, it says. And when James and I watched it, by the end of the show, we were thinking, yeah, we'll watch the second one, you know? But it took a long time. At the beginning, we're like, wow, there's really nobody to relate to, nobody interesting. The acting is not great. And the main guy, he kind of looks like he'd be a jerk, really. So
he looks like a
whereas John Wick,
hockey
you know,
player.
Keanu Reeves, I don't think he'd be a jerk. You know, I think he's just an average sort of guy. But this guy, I don't think we'd like him. It's hard to like this guy. So there's a lot of action, a lot of great special effects, great fight scenes, whatever.
People getting their arms and legs
And
broken and stuff like that.
His very pretty sidekick, who he's supposed to be going after, she's actually not a bad actress.
She's actually, that's when it started to get a little bit.
Yeah, when she got into it.
A bit.
Yeah. So maybe the second one will be better because I expect she'll be in it from the start, right? So, yeah. And then James will talk about Hamilton, I guess. So, I'm going to see how much time I have. And then I'm hoping I can talk about a song. I think I can. I'm going to try to talk about both, but we'll see. So, I'm going over the Last Saskatchewan Pirate, which it's on this album, East of Edson Revisited 30th Anniversary Edition. And this one, my ex's sister is in the video. So if you look for the video, The Last Saskatchewan Pirate by Captain Tractor, the lovely woman who is kissing the singer, that's
Brock, is
Beautiful
that his name?
Muppet.
There we go. There was a kind of like a dedication to her.
He thanked her to the moon and back or something like that. Wonderful. So, if you split the screen now, pull up the lyrics for the Last Saskatchewan Pirate in another window, that'd be great. And this one, I should mention, was not written by them. It was written by some other people. But obviously for them, and I'll talk about that later, because, I'll just tell you right now. The beautiful Muppet, her last name is McKay. So, it was from Smith to Fort McKay down here in the song, and they have Captain Tractor actually in the thing. So, yeah, that's pretty cute.
In the song,
yeah, in the lyrics. So, now, I'm not going to read all the lyrics because, although they're interesting and everything, there's a lot of them. So, line 2, The CB line, B should get the accent. There should be, for the third line, and at the beginning should be cut out of it. It takes away from the rhythm pattern. And then the rhythm pattern gets not so tidy later on and stuff like that. But
people get tired. They shouldn't. They do.
And at so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So higher you now, where the line that starts that way, which would be line 6, there should be a what? Higher you now? They always laugh because then the rhythm would be better there. And the government, they promised me a measly, a little sum. The shouldn't be there. And the rhythm, but I've got too much pride to end up just another bum is the wrong rhythm. And up at, I don't know what I wanted to add, but then I thought there should be a but in front, but then there's a but at the beginning of the last line, so I don't know, maybe something else. So on the River Saskatchewan, Juan never gets the accent, Cat always does. You can't change that. And well, I rammed the ship and sank it.
It's a comedy song, so I don't have too much of a problem with that. Saskatchewan, is that how they sing it? It's not French pronunciation.
So
there's no such river.
I rammed the ship and sank it and stole the fertilizer. Wrong order. You can't steal the fertilizer once it's already at the bottom of the river. A swinging sword and skull and bones and pleasant company. The problem with using a triple syllable for an E rhyme. Right there, because then you end up saying compagnie, and it's not good.
Sounds like a French accent.
But I liked what they did here. In this album, they had a French person singing the last verse. So you'll have to look online for the lyrics that say the stuff in English for the last, because it's anyway. But pirate days are over once the river starts to freeze. That should change. The but should change to an and. Way too many buts. The next one is, but I'll be back in springtime, but now I have to go. And so that but should change to a so. And then you only have one but. So
you only want and need one. So.
And I hear there's lots of plundering down in Mexico. Should be way down south in Mexico. Easy rhythm fix. So there was a problem there, but funny lyrics. We enjoyed it.
The rhythm was better than.
And I enjoyed watching the video again because then I got to see Muffy.
I don't know why so much of this stuff becomes big sellers, and Captain Tractor kind of were local heroes or something like that.
Yeah.
Way better than.
All right. Well, I won't have time to talk about the other song, but next time we're going to talk about Captain Tractor Up the Hill. James, talk about what you want for 30 seconds.
30 seconds?
30 seconds.
Yeah, you Swedes have got to get over your anti-Semitism and get over your love for Palestinian terrorism. There was one Swedish correspondent at Yasser Arafat's funeral who broke down in tears. Yasser Arafat was a terrorist. He was trained by a guy called Otto Skorzeny. One person, here's a quote. Yasser would do anything for Otto. That's Otto Skorzeny, like who was the guy who rescued Mussolini.